podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Oh, it's a goal. Who got the assist? Who got the assist?
Greetings, listeners. I'm Tom. As I always say at this point, so now the end is near, and so we face the final game week. And yeah, we approach the end season then with mixed feelings, to put it charitably, as our seasons have kind of disintegrated or are in the process of disintegrating. We will be back next week for our end of year roundup to just put a button on the season, but we've got one more week to go in terms of game week previews. Game week 38 is indeed coming on Sunday, and it's all fun, right? We're all having fun. I'm having fun. You're having fun. Everybody is having lots and lots of fun. Add to that, before the pod, we got a bit of news about Southampton as well, didn't we? Oh dear.
Did we?
Yeah.
I must have missed that.
The question I've got written here is, are you all good, mate? I don't really know what the answer to that is going to be, but I'm suspecting the answer is no.
Well, I mean, the irony is you write the intro script quite early in the day, and that was already going to be a pretty loaded question considering the last couple of game weeks. And then obviously we had the news on Southampton, which we're not a football pod, we're an FPL pod, so I won't do a monologue on it. But because people know I'm a Southampton fan, I'm absolutely appalled. Whoever did those things and has signed it off, they need to go immediately for it. And you know what? I'm sad, obviously, that we're not going to be in the playoff final. I was really starting to be quite proud of my club again for the first time in forever. Because of the run we're on, etc., etc. But I think the laws of the game need to be put into full force. If there's cheating, it needs to be taken down hard and dealt with swiftly. And I think if we're proven to have done what we've done, we deserve what's coming to us. I feel really sorry for the players, for any staff that didn't know, and of course for fans outside of myself who just wanted to support a team winning a few games for once. So it's a shame, a real shame. But I wish all the best to Middlesbrough and Hull in the final. They've done nothing wrong and they deserve their shot at the Premier League. So yeah, good luck to both of them. And on we move. I've had a terrible game week as well, so we can talk about that instead. Anyway, intro done. We are Who Got the Assist. On today's agenda, game week 37 updates. Maybe we'll skip this. No, we should probably do them. Obviously, though, aside from FPL, we do have to talk about FPL relevant bits for next season because it looks like Pep Guardiola's off and Alonso is arriving alongside probably an old Chelsea manager, Maresca, as well. So we'll talk about that for a little bit. We're going to take a trip down game week 38 memory lane. Do we actually expect more goals in game week 38? We've ran the numbers, so we'll be talking about that because I think there's some interesting data we usually pull around this time of the year. We're also going to run through the final day fixtures and some fun punts alongside that, including our own final 1 week punts, captaincy shouts, and how our teams are set up ahead of game week 38. Probably a shorter one tonight, although we do say that quite often. I think we'll also maybe have space for a little bit of a rant at the end of the pod, which some of you might enjoy. I don't know whether or not that's of use to you, but we fully accept that some of you might want to get out of here before that. Of course, it is Tuesday, the 19th of May, and the second half of Bournemouth Man City is going on in the background, and Bournemouth are 1-0 up, Tom, with about 25-30 minutes left. So that could be really interesting in just a moment's time. Ahead of all of the games kicking off on Sunday, of course, we've still got a match on... Is it tomorrow, the Villa game? Or is it Thursday? I can't remember.
The Europa League game?
Yeah.
The final, yeah, I think it's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it Thursday?
Okay.
No, I think it might be tomorrow, actually. Yeah,
okay. Anyway, they've got to play. So they might be on the piss going into Sunday, depending on how that goes. And the other little thing that we should mention is, as always, Game Week 38 comes with the main event, which is FPL Meets, which will be going on at the Thirsty Bear from 1 p.m. in Waterloo, London. Sadly, neither of us can make it. I'm at a wedding. Tom, I think you're snowed under with baby duties. So it's sad that WGTA won't be representing this time, but we will be back in full force very soon, I promise. Okay, enough of all that. Game week reviews?
No, sad. Just sad.
You can go
sad,
first.
Sad yeah. So I swapped the captains to Gyökeres as well at the last minute. I wasn't influenced by anything really. I was just on my run pre-deadline, thinking about it, and I just kind of decided the upside was worth chasing. You know, memories of Kai Havertz in that game many years ago versus Norwich. You know, I just thought, you know, there's a chance that he could get, if he starts, he gets the match ball here, and over it probably 13, 28, 29. So I was just kind of walking back to my house. Oh, just disaster everywhere. Like, I predicted actually on Blue Sky almost perfectly what was going to happen on Sunday, isn't it? 2 assists for Bruno, I said. Thiago blank with a high XG, I said. Leeds score 2 is what I said with double Brighton defence. I came close enough. Bruno did get 2 assists. Thiago missed that gilt edge chance at the end, and Leeds scored in the last minute, which absolutely was a sucker punch. And yeah, I mean, yesterday with Gyökeres, I so pissed off. I saw the team sheet. I symbolically closed all FPL related stuff, Sam, and went into full Arsenal mode while cradling my newborn daughter, and just didn't pay FPL any attention. Like, I shut down the internal sort of DEFCON counter in my head and was like, nope, I'm not interested. And I hadn't looked at it until earlier when I had to do it for this. Like, I was still really annoyed. I said to you, I did a run in total silence because I was really pissed off about it. I didn't listen to anything. I was just so annoyed. The reason is basically what I said last week. You know, the small decisions costing you so much, and then making what was looking like it could be an excellent season where I finished the top 20k into something where I'm clinging on to top 100k, and there's non-zero chance I do end up outside of it next week. That's the rub, though. I'm in the top 100k. A few people have perhaps rightly said something along the lines of, you know, check your privilege, etc. But it's still incredibly frustrating, like, relatively wherever you are, to have such a couple of small things not go your way, and, you know, kick you in the nuts when you're feeling your most optimistic. But that's FPL, and as we've learned today, that's football, I suppose. But yeah, I don't even know what I'm on at the moment. I haven't checked. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it'll be, well, I mean, it won't be much less than me, but O'Reilly will be on what, a 2-pointer, Cherky 1, Haaland 2, so 41, something like that. It's just been a bit of a disaster, hasn't it? I mean, I'm not much different. 41 from me going into tonight, so I guess 46. So it's a little bit better, but I needed a big week to give myself a hope of top 100k. On the pod last week, it wasn't just you, it was logic, I suppose, but I needed to take a swing, and enough was done to convince me that Gyökeres was that swing. And when I saw the effective ownerships come out after the deadline, I felt really good about that. At 45% effective ownership at my rank, which was about 150k going into game week 38, I felt like that gives me a chance, because if Saka, Fernandes, Haaland, okay, they're all slightly above 100%, Saka below at my rank. But as long as they don't go huge and Gyökeres can have a bit of fun, then I gain a lot of ground on that. Then he didn't start, which is fantastic. I suppose I shouldn't really underestimate just how much managers love Havertz, which is just a running theme wherever he goes. He's very well liked, especially in that centre forward role now. So him getting back to fitness probably should have rang a few more alarm bells than it did in my head. But I just thought Gyökeres, being the flat track bully he is, seemed like the perfect game for him. A bit like you, I thought if he starts, which he should, he could be the bags man for this one. I had to take a risk. I took a calculated gamble, gave myself 2 free transfers going into game week 38, but the Gyökeres failed captain has probably meant that there's no chance of me hitting a top 100k now. I'm 26 points outside of it at time of recording, which is awful, because I was 1 point outside of it just 2-3 game weeks ago, and it's just gone backwards since then. So I've had the hopes just grasped away from me. Very, very frustrating. Yeah, 41 points. Van Hecken, Verbruggen, clean sheet wipeout last minute, but at least I did start Calvert-Lewin, so it wasn't all bad. I think that's the only difference really between me and you is Calvert-Lewin gaining that extra 5 points over Thiago. Yeah, what more can you say? Even Darlow taunting me on the bench with his 11-pointer, which I know that it's the same for lots of people, so it's not just me. Yeah, there you go. I don't think I can make top 100k now, sadly, which really, really sucks.
Yeah. It's as I said earlier on, it's just snatching defeat from the jaws of victory almost, isn't it? Relative terms, but hey, it's not great. That's later on. We'll have like a little vent section, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
In case people are
an extended version of this. Yeah,
but we'll stick to FPL for a little bit before we start commiserating about our terrible woes. The first thing to mention is the news. The news being a key incoming and a key outgoing. Xabi Alonso surprisingly took the Chelsea job, confirmed as manager until next March at the very least. When he'll be sacked and McFarlane will come back in. But nonetheless, Alonso going to Chelsea and being given the title of manager rather than head coach. So, hey, who knows? Maybe the import-export business needed a foreman or something like that. But yeah, really interesting appointment there. Got some knowledge of him from Fancy Bundesliga. Do watch him, but I've watched a bit of Bundesliga. The final day was actually on Saturday, which was really good fun. And then, Pep. That guy, leaving Man City at the end of the season. I don't think has that been officially confirmed by City, but
no.
It was just doing the wires. It's been rumored for a long time, and I think kind of at least one or two kind of sources went over the top yesterday or the day before, and that looks fairly certain to be happening now. So yeah, I think kind of obviously there's the football side of it, but I think FPL wise, I think there's going to be some interesting upshots to it. Taking Chelsea first, Alonso free at the back, but I mean that's how he played at Leverkusen anyway. The idea being that maybe he kind of pick the players suited to the squad, or we don't know whether that's kind of the way he does it, or whether the formation is kind of his vision, his idea, as coaches from that area of the world are prone to say. If he does play free at the back at Chelsea, Mark Cucurella is going to be really interesting next year. Grimaldo, who plays that position at Leverkusen, he's just dynamite fantasy football asset anyway in the Bundesliga game, but was really productive under Xabi Alonso. And yeah, I think that should be an interesting one. I think Chelsea principally are going to be really interesting to us anyway, just because they don't have any. Well, they might have Conference League, but I don't think that particularly counts for them until the very, very late stages of that competition. So yeah, interesting appointment, Sam. Interesting to see kind of what he makes of that team and who comes in, who leaves, who gets favour, who doesn't. Yeah, I think next year they're definitely going to be featuring, obviously fixtures dependent, of course, but definitely featuring in our minds throughout the course of the year. They would anyway, but especially without any Europe, I think that's suddenly kind of a fascinating kind of events there over in West London.
Yeah, I think it's pretty significant actually, especially that managerial role rather than head coach. I think that signifies that Chelsea are, or at least the upper levels are maybe acknowledging that there was a slight error in the way that they were running the club recently, that they weren't giving the manager or head coach enough control. Alonso's a big name signing. I'm surprised that he went to Chelsea, and I assume it's not just about the money, it's also about the control, and he only signed the contract knowing that he's got a significant amount of control in the way the club is structured and the way that he can build up a team from what can only be described as, well, ashes at the moment. I think what we can probably use as the template for next season for Chelsea is what Man United looked like this season, which is a huge upgrade on what they had the previous season, especially when it gets to like Christmas and beyond, where they just don't have any players that are that tired because they haven't been run through the ground by multiple competitions all the way through the first half of the season. I think that could be really significant for a player like Cole Palmer, João Pedro, who also isn't going to the World Cup. Very sad for him because I think he's deserved it, but that's by the by. He'll be well rested, you would think. And as long as he's still at the club, there are rumours, but as long as he's still at the club, he will also be a really eye-catching player to be looking at, especially given the numbers he put up this season. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one. Chelsea are always a team in flux, it seems, at the moment, and there's never any certainty about managerial appointment working out there. But I think Chelsea fans have good reason to be pretty optimistic about this one. And if they can get the behind the scenes stuff working in their favour and they're comfortable with the system that Alonso's going to implement, I think it could be a really, really good appointment. And I think Chelsea will benefit, as will people going for Chelsea assets in FPL.
Yeah, I think another year of starting with João Pedro game week 1 might beckon. Obviously depends who sort of thing, but I can see that. Cool. And yeah, Pep leaving, obviously transformative impacts in terms of football in this country. And poor Joe Hart being the first casualty of the relentless drive for success, of course. And Enzo Maresca, the clone, the regen, the man who's due to come in. I don't know whether many people have noticed, especially those who don't follow football closely, if Maresca had just shown up one day and just kind of he's a manager now. I don't know if my other half would have realised that Pep had gone, for example. Yeah, a very different. I don't know. He's a disciple, right? But also we saw at Chelsea perhaps some gripes about quite rigid style and quite a dogmatic adherence to a certain system. I'm not sure whether that was just due to the project that he was part of. I'm sure that at Man City, with the caliber of players they've got, we might see something kind of quite different happening there. But I think the future of a lot of the players is going to be up in the air again, bar the obvious. And they're still Man City. They're still a great team. If they do have great fixtures, and I think it will be irrelevant. But if their fixtures at the start of the season are a little bit more sort of testing, shall we say, sure, people are going to be looking at Haaland, but I think the rest of the team is going to be very solidly in the wait and see camp. Not having Pep in the league, obviously losing a big character is always a shame for the Premier League generally. And I think that, on the other hand, though, losing that rotation might be a nice thing. But hey, I mean, he's a character. He's a very strange man. But nonetheless, that relentless will to win is certainly going to be missed in the Premier League.
Yeah. So first a word on Pep, because what he's done in English football over the last decade is unbelievable. I don't think it can be overstated how much of an impact he's had on the game all the way through the footballing pyramid. You've got sides playing in League Two, even non-league, that are adopting some of the characteristics of Pep Guardiola's teams, obviously not to the same level, but that way of playing total football all the way through the league system has really started from Pep coming in. And there was a lot of hesitation from quite senior pundits when he joined the league, thinking, well, will this style actually bed in the Premier League? Will it be effective? And I think he's proven all of them categorically wrong. So yeah, Pep, one of the best to do it in the Premier League, if not the best. I'll leave that to Man United and Man City fans to debate. But it will leave a massive hole next season, not least because of the rotation for FPL. Although, what I will say, Maresca, I think you summed it up perfectly there. He's obviously a brilliant manager, a Pep disciple, but he does play a slightly different style of football. He sees football as chess, and it's quite system driven. It's quite rigid, like you said. And Chelsea fans weren't the only ones that have had slight issues with that in the past. Leicester, even when they were topping the league, looked like they were running away with the championship. They had a few gripes about him even at that point as well. So don't be surprised if that comes in at some point in the future, but I think Man City will give him time. On rotation, I think it could still be a factor, because at the end of the day, yes, the manager's gone, but they've got one of the most stacked squads in footballing history. And we don't know who the favourites are going to be yet for Maresca, even if it is, we kind of know it is Maresca, but it's not been made official yet. But we don't know who the favourites are going to be. It might take him a few weeks or months to really figure out who his favourites are in those specific positions. And even if he does land on those favourites, because there is so much talent on the bench, it only takes one or two poor performances for him to think, okay, well, I'm going to try something different. Or a player plays well in the Champions League, then makes his way into starting 11. I don't think we're completely out of the woods with rotation. And that is something I'm going to keep in the back of my mind for the start of next season. That just because Pep's gone doesn't mean that the ghost of Pep isn't still haunting that team with his with his knack for rotation, because I think it still could continue a little bit.
We shall see. We shall see. Yeah, no, really
We shall.
fascinating. Yeah, to see how that will play out. Right, game week 38 down the years. So yeah, I had a look at basically the number of goals scored on average every season and on the final day, and compared the game week 1 to 37 average number of goals versus game week 38. Simple, done. Don't have this year, obviously, but can do averages over the last. I used to go all the way back to 2016. Let's stick to 2020s this time. So the past, 6 years? Same outcome is true though. Basically, game week 38. On average, expect 4 more goals than your average game week, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it means there's more returns on offer and there's more fun. Last year, a notable example of a year which actually was a bit of a damp squib on game week 38. I've got no memory of that. I think I was really drunk actually in the University Bear. Yeah, it wasn't great, but throughout the years there have been quite a lot of goal fests on the final day. Teams playing with gay abandon. We look at kind of things like motivation, don't we, Sam? But as we've kind of seen this weekend with likes of Sunderland, who I said last week got nothing to play for, therefore we shouldn't be looking at them at all. Pulling out a great performance at the Hilly Dick, for example. There is still a lot of vavavoom left in a lot of these teams. They're playing with freedom, as it was put on the Garden Football Weekly this week. That old cliche, and it does make me think that perhaps, and we'll look at the fixtures in a bit, perhaps there's just so much, as with anything, like free hit week, we all look at it and go, oh yeah, no, it's full of variance. Like game week 38 is that, with even more sort of risk of rotation. There's lots of sort of contextual stuff to bear in mind. And there are more goals, but there's also going to be a lot of letdowns as well in terms of players not appearing and all this sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think referencing the Sunderland point is something that I want to remind myself of in future seasons, because it's too late now. But I think when a team has a special season like Sunderland have had, obviously massively overperforming versus what a lot of people expected, they proved a lot of people wrong. It's a great season and they want to go out on a high, right? They want to keep that good feeling going and kind of lock in the special feeling for the end of the season into the summer. I think Leeds, you can probably put in that category as well. Very special season for them. And then teams like Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton, even if they weren't necessarily fighting for position on the final day, I think they've had good enough seasons that it's like, yeah, well, let's go out on a high. So motivation is still relatively high for those teams, I guess. Sunderland, there's also the factor that they want to be ahead of their rivals, Newcastle, so they've got something to play for there too. But I want to just add that motivation factor into the mix for the final day as well. On top of that, like you say, a team that won't be jostling for meaningful position will be more likely to bring on players early and give players their final send-off. We'll come on to Mo Salah later. But yeah, motivation is varying, but that doesn't necessarily mean they won't score goals. It just might mean that they might be a bit more leaky. And as you've presented in the data here, you do see across the board just a little bit more of a enjoyable final day where a lot of teams don't have that much to fight for, and it is a little bit more free-spirited, a bit more open, and you do see a bit more chaos. So yeah, what will this season be? I think the way that the league's mapping out at the moment with the final 10 minutes, 15 minutes to go, there might be quite a few teams with not all that much to play for. So I think there could be a lot of rotation, quite a lot of chaos, a lot of goals potentially, but who knows where those goals will come from if everyone rotates, right? Especially in the teams where we've all got triple ups from, could be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, and there's so much randomness as well. Like I remember a few years back, final day Liverpool were playing Newcastle, and pretty much all of us were sitting with Robertson and Salah in our teams, and it kind of quite a few of us, not back before the cartel existed, but quite a few of us did get the news that they weren't in the team. And it's just like, what are they resting them for? What are they doing? But it's just game week 38 stuff. And on that note, before I go down memory lane, yeah, there is going to be. I mean, I'm removed completely from X now, but I get it through osmosis, like through you and through group chats. Like, but there's going to be so much sort of news swirling around, and it does make decision making really difficult because there are some bits that you are going to unfortunately have to try to hang your hat on when you're making your decision, or decisions if you're not an idiot like me and have more than one free transfer left. And it's just something to bear in mind. Like, people just get excited and send on stuff. If you do have the time, just check the provenance of it. There's gonna be so many fake accounts set up and things like that. And the classic, my mum's baker's boyfriend works in the Arsenal gym, delivers to the Arsenal gym, and he heard heard Arteta whispering that and blah blah, but all this sort of thing's going to have come out a lot. And I mean, I'll be probably holding my transfers until the final moment, but yeah, it's that element of it as well makes it tricky for us FO managers, doesn't it?
Yeah, very much so. And yeah, the reliability of those team leaks was a point I was going to raise too, that on the final day, everyone just tries their arm because there's almost no consequence if you get it wrong. Like, you can just delete the post and people have forgotten about you by the time the next season rolls around. So do be careful out there. Have a list that you trust. Have a group of people that you trust to send on the stuff as well. Unfortunately, I think we're approaching full time. I think there will be some rotation in the final day if the results hold the way they're looking at the moment. So yeah, it could be chaotic, and I'm in a very bad position for that because I think I'll be about mid ceremony for at 2:30ish when the deadline comes. So I think I might just lock in early, cross my fingers, and ignore it for once and just play with freedom because I've got very little to fight for anyway, to be honest. So might just have some fun with it, and whatever will be will be. But yeah, for the majority of you that do have something to fight for, I would try and hold on to the last minute. You're not chasing team value for any good reason anymore. And unless you're getting priced out, you've got no reason not to do it in the last few minutes. Unless, of course, you're in a different time zone or something, you won't have access, or you're at a wedding like myself. Those are the only reasons.
Yeah, so it's not your wedding, is it? Just to be absolutely
No, it's not
clear.
my wedding. No.
I was going to say that would be.
God.
Sorry. I do in a second. I just need to check. God, Holland's bench. Hang on, wait. Call it
transfers.
Call it off. Yeah. So memory lane then. Last year, 24-25, 24 goals, as I said earlier on, scored in the final day. I don't recall it being especially memorable. I think I got probably about 40, 50 points on the final day, and it really was a damn squib. I remember outside of having many, many beers, like all the shouts went going up about, oh, blah, blah has scored. None of them got me excited at all. So on that day, a 2-0 win for City at Craven Cottage, thanks to Gundogan's last goal for Man City and a Haaland pen. So I think a lot of us did have Haaland captain that day, probably. Bowen was on the score sheet as West Ham beat relegated Ipswich at Portsmouth Road 3-1. Liverpool and Palace drew 1-1. Salah did score very late on. Maybe he was the captain. I can't remember even now. It all goes, just disappears, doesn't it, over the course of the summer? After Ismail Star, who else had opened the scoring for Palace early doors? Man United beat Villa 2-0. Ahmad and the Christian Eriksen penalty. Yes, he was there last season.
Yeah,
incredible. And Arsenal beat Saints 2-1 with goals from Kieran Tierney on his final appearance and Odegaard. Pick of the games was Spurs 1, Brighton 4 with a brace for Hinchelwood, so he's got some form on the final day. But yeah, I just don't remember that one at all.
Yeah, I remember it for one reason. My brother, I don't know if you recall this, but he just happened to be in the same pub. Just complete coincidence. When I walked up to the bar, he was there ordering a beer, and he stuck around for the whole day because he was only there to watch what was on TV anyway. Had a great time with him being there, and we both happened to by Semenyo, who got a brace, so that was quite nice. But yeah, that was a good memory, probably my best final day memory. But that was mainly for just brother reasons,
social reasons.
Social reasons. Yeah, exactly. But it was good fun, and I do advise anyone who's at a loose end on Sunday and in London or London-ish to go on down, because it is a really truly great laugh. And I am jealous that I won't be there this year.
Me too. 23-24, 37 goals, the second highest number of goals scored in game week 38 over the last 6 years. This is the best game week 38 of my life. I think I was about 150k going into it. And at the last gasp, I got to 80k in one day. So it is kind of possible, Sam. But yeah, you have to get incredibly lucky. The main reason for that was Diogo Dalot, who scored 15 points away at Brighton with the goal and the clean sheet and all 3 bonus, which propelled me into top 80k. It was a 2-0 victory over Brighton at the Amex for United that day. Chris Wood got a brace against Old Club Burnley. Raheem Sterling, remember him, scored for Chelsea and 2-1 win over Bournemouth. And over at Selhurst Park, do you remember this when Mateta scored a hat trick as he scored a brace? A lot of people had Mateta captain that week. Yeah, ridiculous stuff. And
I think I went Elise and it went terribly badly.
Yeah, maybe. And
Classic.
Sally on this list. Yes, yeah, that was actually yeah. Now you mention it. I think that I had those. I can't remember, but yeah, I remember you had the third guy, didn't you?
Yeah, that happens quite a lot. We might need to review that over the summer.
Yeah, and a Foden brace for City as well that day. But yeah, that was good memories of that day. I do remember that one. Year before 2023, Arsenal beat Wolves 5-0. A brace for Granit Xhaka. Saka was on the score sheet too. Brentford beat City 1-0 thanks to a late goal from Ethan Pinnock. This was the last day that Harry Kane was in the Premier League. A final appearance for Spurs, saw them beat Leeds 4-1. He got brace in that game. And the pick of the game, Sam, was a mad 4-4 draw, you might remember, at St Mary's. Saints legend Kamaldeen Sulmana with a brace for Saints, and Jota, RIP, bracing for Liverpool. And Firmino was on the score sheet for what I think was his final game.
Wow. I honestly, I do remember being in the Thirsty Bear for that one, for the 4-all. It was quite a good game, actually, if I recall. But yeah, I don't think we've even got a single player that is starting for us anymore from that time. So yeah, I mean, the less said about Southampton right now, the better, eh? But yeah, that was, I think, a slightly better year FPL-wise for me at the time, but I can't remember exactly what happened on the final day.
Was that the year that you started?
I think that was, so this is my 3rd year on WGTA. So 25, 26, 24. So no, that would have been, wait, was that 22, 23?
Yeah.
That would have been the year before. And I think that was my best rank, or one of my best ranks so far. So it was a good season. I'm not sure about the final day. But yeah, the further back we go, the happier the memories become because my ranks were better. So we can keep going further and further back. That's fine.
Yeah. We'll go even further. Let's do 2 more. I'm not going to go all the way back. Game week 38, 21-22. Notable things: Spurs won 5-0 away at Norwich. Son was the most owned and captain that day in the top 10k. But Kane and Kulusevski also racked up double-digit hauls. So some things like that can happen. As can Arsenal beating Everton 5-1 at home with 5 different scorers. So yeah, Callum Wilson scored a brace as Newcastle beat relegated Burnley 2-1 at Turf Moor. Salah was benched but still scored as Liverpool beat Wolves 3-1. Mane scored on his final game as a red. And Man City beat Villa 3-2. But it was a complete B team. Talking about that rotation, only KDB of any player over more than 1% in the top 10k actually appeared, which probably is important for exactly what we're about to see.
Yeah. Also, I think we've had a goal for City with a minute left, so it could be a tense final 60 seconds or so. But yeah, that's dating the pod quite dramatically, I think. But yeah, I mean, like you say, the further back we go, the more enjoyable memories are. I think that was the year I went Callum Wilson a few weeks before the final day when Isak was quite popular as well. And it was like that 50-50 call for a lot of people between Wilson and Isak. And I think it was Wilson got like a brace and an assist or something in a double game week or something like that. And I remember that was one of my happier FPL memories. But yeah, I don't think that was on the final day though. I think that was like 2 or 3 game weeks before.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember going for the wrong player. I remember speaking to one of the dads down the pub who I'd backed Isak and he'd backed Wilson and just kind of smashed past me on the final day and with kind of the impromptu mini league we'd set up. So yeah, 50-50s all over again. And finally, 2021. Quite a few goals this day. 31 goals. Spurs beat Leicester 4-2 away. Kane with a goal and assist. Gareth Bale with a brace. Chelsea lost 2-1 away at Villa, but won first spot anyway. Do you remember that when they were kind of looking? They kind of somehow managed to clinch under Tuchel. Champions League. City beat Everton 5-0. Kun Aguero came off the bench, brace in his final game. There's a bit of a theme here, isn't there, of players doing that? Mane brace versus Palace, and so on and so forth. But yeah, quite a lot happened back in those days, which was really exciting.
Yeah, it was back when DEFCON wasn't the overriding FPL factor now. And this weekend, I'm just going to buy DEFCON players and enjoy the points. By the way, full time. Congratulations, Tom. Live reaction. Any first thoughts? I'll hand the mic to you.
Has it actually happened? Is it real? Is this actually happened? I think I was like 15 when we actually won the league last time. I'm not going to cry, but I'm pretty overwhelmed. That's really cool. That's really, after thinking after the City game that there was a chance that the momentum had completely reversed. I'm just very glad that we've got over the line. Like, we really need to do it. We need to break the duck, and just get the monkey off our back. Really, I mean, there's going to be a lot of kind of the most boring champions ever, and all this sort of rubbish that kind of the social media mill seems to be churning out now. But I mean, shock horror, the team that can defend the best, and to be fair, we've got equal goal difference with City. Still does goals despite the fact that we've had quite a lot of injuries this year. Winning the league, I mean, I think that, we were saying in pre-season, weren't we, or certainly kind of talking about football, that I was pretty happy with us kind of favouring depth in our purchases, and there was lots of questions about why are they spending money on this guy, why are they spending money on that guy. And I think grasping the modern era, that it's not just about your best 11, it's about kind of having that quality through the team. Admittedly, players like Madueke, etc., they've not exactly set the world on fire, but at the same time, having players like that to come in versus a couple of years ago when we were fielding like Wanyeri, Jesus, and I don't know, somebody else as our front three. I think lessons have been learned, and I'm obviously really chuffed about it finally happening after many years of hurt. So yeah, brilliant Absolutely. Stuff is all I'm going to say.
I'm really chuffed for you. I'm chuffed for all the Arsenal fans out there who've had to wait for so long as well. So yeah, thoroughly deserved. It felt like it was building to this moment for a few years now. What Arteta and the club behind the scenes have built has been quite special, and it doesn't really matter the way you win the league in the end, does it? Like, you won the league. That's what people will remember. Whether or not you did it winning 1-0 9 times or by winning 5-0 9 times, doesn't really matter. You've won the league, and that's the main thing. And that defense will go down in history as one of the best. So congrats. And hopefully this isn't the final trophy you get to celebrate this year either, Tom. So yeah, still got more to play for yet. We'll talk about the rotation in a bit, I reckon. But yeah, congratulations. And that times the pod perfectly. We can now talk about what the rotation is going to be like the final day and all of that, knowing exactly what has happened.
Yeah, we've done really well to waste the time there, I've got to say. I'm kidding. Hopefully that was a memorable something that evokes memory rather than being a memorable segment. But yeah, we do it every year. Why not? Why the hell not? Yeah, on to that game week 38 stuff. Is that the sound of the bottom of the barrel being scraped? I think it might be. I just had I've just reminded myself of who I'd put on this graphic as potential punts for this week. Just to reel off some names here. Richarlison, Mo Salah. What's Mo Salah doing here? Well, we know what's happened to Mo Salah this year. Bowen, Somerville. And then the two Burnley players, if you watch on YouTube, I'm going to name them for you. You probably won't be able to pick them out of a lineup. They are Zian Fleming and Jaden Anthony. Yeah, those are the kinds of players that we are looking at, which is fascinating stuff, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, let's take the fixtures first, Sam. Yeah, some are meaningful, and well, vanishingly few, I think, are probably meaningful now. If the Chelsea Spurs game is meaningful, I think there'll be maybe one game which is properly meaningful. The rest is going to be, or maybe for Bournemouth, in fact, trying to strive to get that final Champions League place and hoping Liverpool slip up. But
can't do that anymore, I don't think, can they?
Can we not? Oh yeah, they can't, can they? Because they've just drawn. Damn it. Yeah, so that one's off. Yeah, it's all it's a lot of this is confected stuff, isn't it? Like, they get extra money for getting an extra place, that kind of thing.
Yeah, sorry, I should actually mention they are 3 points behind Liverpool, but the goal difference is 6. So, I mean, it's possible if Liverpool lose by 3, Bournemouth win by 4, but it seems very unlikely. I think it's more down to if Villa come 5th and then also win in Europe, then Bournemouth could get Champions League from 6th, which would be very cool. But yeah, anyway, lots of fixtures here that mean very, very little all of a sudden. Obviously, we can run through them. I mean, Brighton against United, I suppose it matters for Brighton. They'll be jostling for European placement. So Brighton have got something to play for, but a lot of us have already got Brighton. Burnley Wolves, I mean, that's had nothing on the line for a long time now. Palace versus Arsenal, very similar. It'll just be a bit of a trophy parade for Arsenal, which will be nice. So I'm sure all their main men will get time on the pitch, but considering Champions League is coming, I don't know how much. Although there is quite a long turnaround, so we'll see. Fulham, Newcastle, nothing on that. Liverpool, Brentford, obviously Liverpool can do with making sure that they don't lose, but not tons on it. Brentford are fighting for Europe, so they've got a little something on that. Man City, Aston Villa, nothing. Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, not tons. Bournemouth with a little something, but as long as they don't lose, they'll get 6th, and it's very unlikely they'll get 5th. Spurs, Everton, obviously quite a lot riding on that for Spurs, especially if the result holds against Chelsea. And Sunderland, Sunderland, Chelsea, meh, nothing really. West Ham, Leeds, there's a bit more. So what did I name there? Like 2 or 3 fixtures that you've arguably got something to play for. But a lot of the other fixtures, you could probably pick most of the starting 11 and just hope that it's a bit of a field day. You get a bit of a goal bonanza in those games. It's not easy, though. And we've got a lot of ownership in teams that, quite frankly, could easily rotate now. Easily. So, yeah, it's worrying.
It really is. What's really annoying as well is that Burnley and Wolves play each other. So that would have been like the gimme, wouldn't it? If one of them had a better game. But as it is, that those two sort of target fixtures being combined into one makes the rest absolutely, difficult to call. Throw in a bit of rotation, and it starts to get incredibly annoying. I feel very silly for not having rolled the second transfer. But hey, you know what? If Thiago had converted or Gyökeres had actually started, we
wouldn't be saying that.
We feel something different about it. I mean, it does feel like it's randomness on acid really this week, more than ever, because there are less games to call. Just thinking about the games that we spoke for a minute ago, or at least I kind of gave voice to. Yes, okay, you've got games like City demolishing Everton, and you've got games like the 4-4 draw, but a thread that runs through it are things like Arsenal beating Wolves 5-0, things like Spurs beating Norwich 5-0, Leicester losing to Spurs 4-2 again. These sorts of big scoring games, like, you can have a random one, but they're not as easy to kind of pick out of a lineup. And that's kind of what worries me about this weekend a little bit. But
there's no obvious.
Especially kind of at, something, I think I'm kind of going to end this game week around sort of 82, 83k, which is a 60k drop from a couple of weeks ago.
I don't want to look at mine.
I'm going to look at, it's going to be consolidation territory for me more than anything else. But if you're pushing, I think that, and maybe a bit closer to it than you are, sadly, Sam, it's going to be a very difficult one to try to read the tea leaves on and try to get that, find that bit of gold amongst all the mud out there.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of randomness. I think having 2 free transfers is quite helpful, especially now that City have got nothing to play for. So I might just do something crazy with it, but I would say if you're within 10 points, I think you play it with a relatively, 10 points of wherever you're chasing, play it with a relatively straight bat with 1 or 2 risks. Don't do anything completely crazy. Maybe even keep the captain on the obvious one. Even if there is an obvious one now, to be honest. But yeah, I'm really struggling like that. I'm looking around even like across positions as well, like defenders, midfielders, forwards. I'm really struggling to pick out like one standout pick that no one really owns yet in any position. It's all a bit meh. Like the annoying thing is that the 2 worst teams by a distance are playing each other. So yes, you can back some Burnley players at home to Wolves, but Burnley are down there too. They've been almost as bad as Wolves all season. So it's effectively like picking, I don't know, a Leeds player against West Ham. Like they're about level-ish, or at least in the same sort of league as each other. So you shouldn't expect a battering because they're on a par with each other. Any other team, if Man United went up against Burnley or Wolves, sure, great, Bruno, Cunha, Mbermo, Sesko, done. But it's really tough. I quite like the idea of backing the teams with something like Brighton, even Brentford, I don't mind against Liverpool. Or the other route, which is boring and it won't really work for me because I'm chasing by that much. But I think some of the best picks you can go for on the final day are the ones where you can guarantee the minutes or near enough guarantee. Szoboszlai, Elliot Anderson, Morgan Gibbs-White, I think as well. With like, even if they are average fixtures, you can be pretty safe in the knowledge that they're going to get 80 to 90. And there's been a reason that all year long they've come out near the top of the rankings. And that's because they are very consistent. So it's not going to work for me because I'm too far off and those players don't have the ceiling. But I think if 7-8 times out of 10 you played these fixtures over and over and over, those are the types of players that are going to more often than not be near the top of the charts because at least we know what's going to happen with them.
Those players are on the table for me, like big time. To run
100%.
through kind of the actual kind of the punts or the last scarf picks we've put here. Richarlison being top of the shop kind of tells you all you need to know, really. And there's the old club needle, isn't there, Everton, whose season's fizzled out. 0.6 extra open ante is fine. Penbox poacher, basically. He's got to hope that a chance comes his way and he can snaffle it. I guess, given how that game's going, that's still going to be a live thing on the final day, that game. So, that and the West Ham players in the shape of Bowen, Somerville, maybe even Castellanos, they're all players that perhaps are kind of the motivation read-in to pick up. I think that Bowen's actually been bought by quite a lot. Worth noting that Bowen hasn't actually scored a goal since it was a game week 23 or 24 I read earlier on. So, yeah,
it's an exciting pick.
Yeah, but those DEFCON sound, they're going to hit different.
Like I said, DEFCON players me. So, Bowen straight in.
Definitely feels a bit like those are the ones that you're looking at for kind of some semblance of a motivation perspective when you're with your final day pick.
Yeah, it's like we keep saying, I mean, it's pretty slim pickings. I do like Bowen, but all it's going to take in the next 25, 30 minutes is Tottenham to get an equaliser. And then West Ham are very, very little to play for, considering the goal difference. Difference between Tottenham and West Ham. They're effectively down if Spurs get an equaliser, I think. So... in fact, they would be because there's like 12 between, will be 13 between them in the goal difference if Spurs get an equaliser. So keep an eye on that for the next 25, 30 minutes. I mean, I don't mind Richarlison, especially if Spurs do lose today. I think one of the better picks to be going for. He's got good XGI per 90. He should be starting through the middle. Everton at home, like you say, and Chelsea have just scored again, so it should be something to play for on the final day. Richarlison, he's going up in my thinking in live time, which is interesting. So don't mind him. Next one's quite an interesting one though, Tom. What about Mo Salah? In any shape or form, are you confident he's going to start this game?
No.
No, me neither.
that probably kills it off, doesn't it? On the bench, probably. Play given a few minutes. I think it's difficult for Slot if he's staying on. In terms of the maintaining his authority, to be that guy. I think he's got to bench him. Romantic in me says that, there was always a few weeks ago when we were planning our wild cards and things like that. There was kind of a big thought in my head to make sure I've got room to get Mo back in 38 for that romantic final captaincy. I did captain Aguero for that brace, for example, like I mentioned a little while ago. But I don't really see it, and I think that you have to be like probably just left with nothing to lose if you're going to go there. I just can't see a world where I'd be interested in buying him in this week, sadly. I think that kind of 1 pointer in game week 34 is going to be it for Mo, which is sad, but that's the way. That's football. That's football, isn't it?
Yeah, I do wonder, because I've got nothing on the line now. I just do it knowing that he probably is going to get benched and get 20 at the end or something. But yeah, I mean, it's a sentimental based pick at best, and even then, it's still like stretching the boundaries of what could be considered fair gameplay. If you're a diehard Liverpool fan and you've got not much on the line, you don't really care about your final rank or mini leagues, then I'd say go for it. But I reckon there's like a 30-40% chance he even starts the game after the comments he's made. And even if he did, he's definitely coming off early to get that standing ovation anyway. So there's not really much going for it. And he's got worse XGI per 90 than Richarlison, who's 7.5 million less. So it's quite hard to argue a case, honestly. I would love to be able to, and like you, I kind of left the spot just in case. But as soon as we saw those comments, I think we both probably looked at it and thought, well, that's that punt gone for the final day, which is a real shame, because he's been an incredible FPL pick, and what a servant for Liverpool as well. I do hope for his sake that he gets to play and gets at least 60 and then gets waved off, but there's just doubt there now, so it's tough to know for sure. Ironically, it makes Szoboszlai, in my view, a better pick, because if Salah's not on the pitch, Szoboszlai gets pens for longer, so that might make him a slightly better pick, but he's about as unexciting as it can be, so I don't know if I can go there either.
Nope. just I don't know. There's always that element, isn't it, with the Anderson kind of this world as well, where you're like, it's the final day. Do I really want to kind of be looking at that in my team? Speaking of which, the West Ham players, given how tonight's gone, it seems that there is going to be some motivation for them in the game against Leeds. I mean, Leeds have got lots of injuries, but as we saw against Brighton, which may be a bit of a trick of the light, a little bit in terms of that, Darlow turned into prime Dida, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I think that they got incredibly unlucky in that game.
They did.
Yeah. I mean, both West Ham and Spurs are going to have to go for it. I feel like I'm going to find it difficult to resist kind of wanting a piece of that potentially. And like someone like Somerville or Bowen, I think both of them are fine. If that's kind of the way you want to go with it. Just as a spoiler, I've got absolutely no flipping idea what I'm doing this week. No clue whatsoever. I think I'm going to be pretty much lining up some ideas for where I'm going to go, and then kind of just see what the vibe is on Sunday afternoon. Same as applies to Richarlison. And finally, the Burnley players. I mean, I mean, Zian Fleming, Jaden Anthony, interesting picks. Could you be that person who goes for one of those on your final day? I mean,
God, we're really stretching the word interesting to its upper limit, aren't we?
I know. It's like interesting when you're talking about something at work. That's really interesting. You don't really mean that.
Yeah, whilst glazing over and like signing off. Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, I will just circle back to that one in the new year. Fleming's all right. I don't mind the data. Like 0.45. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a Premier League team interested in for next season. I think he's got 10 Premier League goals this year as well. It's really not bad. So yeah, I don't hate Zian Fleming. Anthony, yeah, maybe. But like I don't hate them as options. But it is important to remember that Burnley are almost very similar, as bad as Wolves are. So this isn't like, oh, we'll back the home team against Wolves because Wolves are awful and therefore loads of goals are coming our way. This game could genuinely go either way because they are fairly evenly matched. So yeah, for the first time or second time this season, I suppose Burnley have got a pretty reasonable chance of getting a couple of goals, but it doesn't make them any better than a West Ham at home to Leeds or a Spurs at home to Everton or Nottingham Forest against Bournemouth. They're about level. So it doesn't really help, other than it brings them into the mix. It doesn't make them standout picks, though, in my mind. Does that mean I won't go there? No, because again, like I said, I've got very little to lose, so it might just be a bit of a laugh. But I wouldn't have, honestly, I wouldn't have either of them ahead of the West Ham picks. I wouldn't have either of them ahead of Spurs picks, who have just got a goal back against Chelsea, by the way, or even someone like Osula away at Fulham. I don't mind either. It's hard to get excited about Burnley picks always. I don't mind Fleming though. I could see it.
There was that Richarlison doing a goal. There we go.
It was Richarlison doing a goal.
Eyes emoji. Yeah, I mean, I think with all of these, the reality is that it might be best as an idea to have like per position, maybe per price point, or depending on your budget.
Yeah,
like a preferred candidate for who would come in. A move that you would do kind of regardless, but kind of have the backup in place if you do have the capacity to be on socials, or at least kind of figuring out what's going on Sunday, so you can make a move accordingly based on these guys. None of them are great, it's fair to say, but you can't carry transfers next season, so you might as well leave it all out on the field. And yeah, no one that I'm really sort of genuinely massively excited about. I think it would be probably the case that I'd be looking probably at Richarlison of this lot, because he might be on penalties and has done a goal, and is playing against his former club. All of that sort of jazz may sort of move me in that direction should I find myself needing to make a striker transfer. If not, I mean, I'm happy with Somerville midfield as another pick. I can't think of any Spurs midfielders I want to pick up. Right, more of that anon in our teams. 1 week punts, the final one of the year. I think it's fair to say that I've won this one. 248 for me, 197 for you, despite you getting Saka's 10 points and me having Trossard blank last week. This week I've gone for Somerville himself. I hadn't used him, I don't think. So I thought, let's go for that in a game that is actually meaningful.
And even if you had, I don't think it matters at this point. You're miles ahead. Somerville's a logical pick. I've gone with Szoboszlai, which I was surprised I hadn't picked so far this season. But he's had a stormer, and as I mentioned earlier, given the comments from Mo, I think the minutes will be fairly low for him. Whether or not he starts is up for debate. But if he did, I think he'll come off early anyway, which gives Sobo a bit more pen share. It's a decent fixture. Liverpool will need to do something, like not lose by 5 or 6 goals or something, because then Bournemouth could get sneaked back in. So, I think they'll put out a fairly strong side, and Szoboszlai has been consistently good all season. So, that's where I'm heading on the final day for my 1 week punt. I did consider Mo, but I haven't picked him this season. I held him back for this, but I don't think he'll get the minutes. No. Is it too late to change now just for a laugh? I don't know.
Do it. Do what you want.
Oh, screw it. We're putting on Mo then. I don't know. Who cares? Mo.
Give us Mo.
I'm doing Mo.
Fair. Right. Something which probably maybe a bit more impactful this week is captaincy. So before tonight's events, I'd have imagined that everyone would be lumping on Haaland. I suspect that's still going to be the case. I think he'll still be the EO chip leader. But that now being decided, I still can't believe it is, but that now being decided in terms of the title, maybe does throw things up in the air a little bit more in terms of who the captain is this week. I mean, does Haaland even start, etc., or does he get signed off early so he can relax ahead of the World Cup and hope that he doesn't kind of have all that wear and tear, which means he comes back from the World Cup injured? Don't know how deep that Norway will go, let's be fair. It does kind of open the question really about captaincy this week. I mean, I'm currently bossing Haaland with Bruno Weiss. I think that's kind of quite chill.
Yeah.
From a defensive consolidation point of view, I think I'm only like 7 points inside the top 100k, Sam. So there's a real chance that I fumble it this week. But yeah,
Just don't do anything stupid.
I'm kind of thinking that might be the way, just for safety reasons. But if Villa are on the piss after winning tomorrow night, I think I'll be happy with that. And if Haaland is rested, then I suspect he doesn't come on. Yeah, I mean, I suppose a lot of it's horses for courses. I'm consolidating, but for you, I mean, surely it's just pot luck. Just flip a 11-sided dice and whatever it lands on, stick the captain there. Screw it. James Hill, you're my dude this week.
Yeah, seems a bit silly to go Haaland, especially now that they're not gonna be in the title hunt on the final day. He is currently my bus team captain, which we'll come on to in a minute, but that's only because I haven't really thought about my moves or made any significant movements yet. So he is, if the minutes are all as normal, then he is the best captain by a long way. But I think everything that's happened tonight probably means that the minutes are up in the air, to say the least. I still wouldn't be surprised if he got decent minutes and then just got brought off after like 70 or something, especially if we have that official word that this is Pep's final game. I think he'll at least want to go out on a high. If Villa win, they'll be on the piss and they won't care either. I wouldn't be massively surprised to see Haaland get like a 60-minute hat trick, sign off for Pep, and then off they go to their summer holidays. Wouldn't be a bad option, but yeah, it's a little bit boring. And you could say the same about Bruno or Saka, really. I mean, Saka will be full celebration mood. You'd imagine he'll take the penalty, given that he's Arsenal's star boy, winning the league. Again, maximum celebration. He'll get maybe 60 minutes and then brought off early, so he's rested for the Champions League. Bruno always gets 90, but they've got nothing to fight for, so who knows? It's a crapshoot. It's a proper crap. Like, it could go anywhere this week. I'm tempted to just put it on someone with something to play for. So Richarlison, if they lose tonight, Bowen potentially if Spurs lose tonight, or something just completely left field like Palmer, who I know has the potential for explosivity, and I can get there if I sold Haaland, for instance. I think I can even get there if I went like Fleming or Osula for Gyökeres and then Cherky up. And then I could finish the season with Palmer, Saka, Bruno and Haaland, which might be quite funny. I've got all the premiums all of a sudden. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, honestly. Haaland's the best captain if he gets the minutes. Will he get the minutes? I don't know. I'd be tempted to overlook and keep it safe on Bruno, to be honest. I think that's where the safest money is for minutes this weekend. And now he's got the assist record. He'll shoot again, right? Right?
Yeah, definitely. Is there a case to stick it on a player that has something to play for? Stick it on relegation Rishi or stick it on Jared Bowen? Yeah,
definitely.
That's definitely one to think about for those who are really chasing. Just hope that those teams overwhelm the teams that are on the beach against them. But yeah, as we said, I wouldn't put too much stock in that. Friedel said in the chat, more gives White at home. I mean, yeah. Sure, absolutely, why not? But Bournemouth are really good defensively, so maybe something to bear in mind. True. None the wiser on that one, I'd say. Probably would be boring and stick on Haaland, but I will see what the mood music is later on in the week, and that kind of bleeds into team and plans. Really, I just don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I assume we're just leaving it until kind of towards the end, Sam. As you said earlier on, I've got my game week 32 wildcard team effectively, except we've added Thiago and Gyökeres now. I mean, Christ knows if Gyökeres is going to start. I'm hoping someone somewhere tells me that he is. I've only got one free transfer. There's no point in me taking a hit on the final day, especially because I'm in squeaky bum time here. Senesi's on the pitch ahead of Van Hecke. Because I've got Bruno in the team, and I've actually got Darlow in goal at the moment, but who knows what I'll do with that. Captain's on Haaland. It's just the game week 38 sorry, the game week 32 team. Cherky could go for a midfielder, Somerville probably, or I could do something else. I just don't know at this point, which is a really funny thing to say, but it is game week 38, and I can allow myself to be a lot less intentional this time round.
Yeah, I mean, the potential for randomness is so extreme this week. Lots of us have triple City, triple Arsenal, neither of which have much to play for. And you can read that in so many ways. Are they going to put out their strongest possible 11? Are they going to just completely rotate in Arsenal's case because they're resting for Champions League? Or are they going to try and keep that match rhythm? Man City, probably Pep's final game. Are they going to put out a strong lineup for that reason? Honestly, there's just so many narratives you can spin. You've just got to pick one and go with it. With this team, what I will say that you've got quite a nice position to be in is that bench is full of DEFCON. 2 players there, Hill and Van Heck, good on DEFCON. And you might get a bit of penalty share out of Tav. I think all 3 of them will play. So even if you are worried going into the final 10 minutes before the deadline and you get a leak, Gyökeres doesn't start or something, and you've already kind of allocated that other transfer, you won't need to take the hit because at least you'll have a decent chunk of points potentially coming off the bench. There's hope there. You don't need to take a hit to cover an 11 and to make sure you've got a playable 11th player coming in, because all 3 of those on the bench are playable. Like, you could give me solid enough logic to start any of them. So I think you're okay. You just need to wait as long as you can to try and figure out who the most likely is to get reduced minutes, and then act on that and just pick the best player at that available price point in that position. As you discussed, make that list a day before, and then 5 minutes before the deadline, maybe 10, you lock in based on who you think is the least likely to be starting.
I'm not going to lie, the 2 on that list are Cherky to Elliot Anderson or Somerville, but it might be Elliot Anderson. I've known him all year, so it's exciting for me, even if it's not exciting for the rest of the world. Or Gyökeres, if I find he's not going to start, to Richarlison or Bowen, probably Richarlison. Love that Versailles club stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a whimper to end the year on, but hey, there we go. And as for yourself, for 2 free transfers, anything exciting on the list?
Speaking of whimpers, I mean, we've got quite similar teams. Verbruggen in goal. Hill, I'm starting instead of your Senesi. O'Reilly, Gabriel, both of which, who knows. Cherky, Saka, Bruno Weiss, Gross, Haaland, Gyökeres, Calvert-Lewin. I think, 2 free transfers are going to get used. Right now, my instinct is Gyökeres and Cherky come out, and I probably downgrade Gyökeres pretty significantly, and then upgrade Cherky to Palmer. Might be quite fun, just for that like quad premium. I do think Haaland will play. That's my gut instinct, is Haaland probably plays. Gyökeres probably gets another 30 off the bench, but I might be way off there. The logical transfer in up front would probably be Richarlison or Bowen. So I will consider those, and then maybe a cheaper alternative in midfield for Cherky. Maybe even Gross could go as well. Like, if I get news that Cherky's going to start, and then maybe I could look at that. The other player I'm slightly considering for just a bit of a nostalgic throwback for Pep is Cherky to Foden. If I feel like Foden's got a decent chance of starting, because Foden has kind of been like Pep's boy for his tenure. I wonder if maybe he gets one final start under Pep. And again, that Villa game, if Villa win in the Europa League, they're not going to care about this game whatsoever. So they are there for the taking. It's just about picking the right City players that are actually going to play minutes. It's difficult to do, though. As we were talking about earlier on when we looked through the fixtures, there's no standout team to like really throw all of my transfers at. There's not like a team that no one's going to go for that gives me loads of potential upside. It's just going to be vibing it out in the last few hours before the deadline. And I'll do it based on who I think is most likely to get benched. And at the moment, it's the Arsenal and the City players that I think are most likely. Gut feeling is Gyökeres and Saka. Gyökeres and Cherky are the most likely, but it could be any of them. A bit like you, though. I've got enough on my bench that I probably don't need to like take hits or anything. If Tav or Van Heck need to come in, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, it's sad end to a sad season.
Yeah, lovely bookend there. Right. So that's our preview done. For those who want to leave now, you are dismissed. Thank you very much for your patronage this year. We'll be back next year. We do have a bit of time at the end of this one because we thought we'd end about kind of 5-10 minutes early, just to start the recriminations about the season that's just gone. The rant space. Obviously, it's churlish for me to say I'm in it. I think I'm 100k just inside top 100k. I think my rant would be a lot worse next week if I managed to fumble it. But yeah, it's been. There's been quite a few discussions on socials about the nature of the season and what it's been like. A lot of people, obviously, as we always see every year, have been kind of sailed through and had a brilliant time. But I don't know, it's just felt a lot more difficult this year, and not difficult in a hey, this is difficult, but it's really cool to work it out and see everything kind of play out in front of me. It's just felt so punishing getting things wrong more than anything else. Like any risk taken has been severely slapped back out, and it's I don't know whether that's just symptomatic of the saturation of content. I don't know. And we are probably part of that, but probably not equally too, given the nature of what we do. And it's kind of, I don't know. It has felt like it's really difficult, and I'm not sure whether it's kind of the evolution of FPL that's made it that way, or whether it is just this season that it's confined to. I mean, next year will be in year 10, and back in the first 4 or 5 years, I'd have given quite a lot to be in the top 100k at this point. I'd have thought I'd have been cock a hoop at this point, and I kind of feel a bit sort of, last 2 weeks have been a bit crap, but even without that, I don't know, maybe there'd have been a bit something missing, I suppose, from this year in terms of the enjoyment. Maybe it's just me getting old, but I don't know. I still really enjoy FPL. I still look forward to it a lot. It's still kind of something which is very kind of integral to my identity, as sad as that sounds. But yeah, I don't know, Sam. This year it's just kind of felt like something's been missing from everything a little bit.
Yeah, and I want to try not to make it all about like my own personal experiences, because I think it is about your own season, really. Like if you've had a good season, like a really good season, like top 10k or something, you're probably sat here like, yeah, I've had a great time. I've picked loads of picks that like exploded, and that's really enjoyable. But I think from my personal point of view, I've had 2 good game weeks this season where I can remember them and I'm like, yeah, I got that right. That felt amazing. And those came back to back, and then it disappeared again. And there's not been many weeks this season where I'm like, that exciting thing happened and it went in my favor. It just always feels like when there's a big haul, I've seemed to have missed it, and at least 40-50% of the crowd have it. Now, that's partly just because I've played poorly, but also it does feel like this has been a particularly punishing season for those kind of moments. Like if you're a week late on someone, you're done. But as we've kind of brought up throughout the year, because everyone is so engaged now, ownership spikes happen almost overnight. If a player looks like a good pick all of a sudden, if you're not on him that week, then it's too late. And because there's so much content, because everyone's online in a community getting the same news and all of this, it does kind of all draw into quite a solid template and quite a fast moving template that if you're not on the right side of pretty early on in the season, it's quite hard to make that ground up, because you need to then make several decisions right to get back ahead of the crowd. It's almost like running after a moving train. It's quite difficult to ever like get back on the train in the first place, let alone then get to the front of that train. It's very punishing now. And a lot of it does come down to that first like 10 to 12 weeks of the season where you get ahead on the prices because you've picked the right picks, and it's like self-fulfilling where, okay, good decisions equal further good opportunities throughout the season, and you can play in a fairly comfortable way. Whereas if you're chasing, you will have to take bigger and bigger gambles, and that can often lead to bigger and bigger rank drops. So yeah, that's how it's felt this season. I don't know how much of that is just down to the fact that I got off to a decent start, and then it just kind of dragged, and I fell behind around Christmas, and I never really caught back up. The only thing I am quite proud of is not taking a hit for the first time ever, but that hasn't helped either. So that's one little like FPL bucket list task done.
Nice.
But yeah, that hasn't done much either. So yeah, it's just been a very depressing season for me. There's just been very few moments of actual joy. And that's quite a horrible thing when you're making content 4 or 5 times a week. Like I haven't had much to celebrate. But you know, we go again next year, and hopefully there are more weeks to celebrate big points.
Yeah, I hope next year's the one. I think there's definitely kind of some proof in what you were saying right at the start about how quickly that edge just gets blunted, right? We said it a few times that a player goes from differential to arse cover within the space of 1 week. I think that's mad. It's very, very difficult, especially if you do fall behind. And a lot of it does kind of feel like you get a good start and you kind of just play vanilla the whole time. Over Christmas, I got very lucky, because principally, I think a lot of my kind of decent outcomes this year haven't really been attributed to certain individual kind of picks going off, like Matoma and Estepinian in years gone by when they're owned by like 2% of players combining to score. It's very much been it's sort of stuff like dumb luck, like that week that I was considering selling Thiago, Bruno happens to get injured, and then I happened to have him over Christmas for those massive hauls. If I didn't have that, then I'd be in the same situation as you. And there's not very much in between us in terms of kind of that outcome. It's Rizzler paper, but the outcome has nonetheless been all the more punishing for you. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just hoping. I kind of just hope that we'll see some changes to the game next year a little bit. That they've got to know that things like algorithmic algos and things like that are having an impact on the game. And sure, okay, that might be outside their remit, and there might not be very much they can do about it. But we may have to just accept that that's reality now. And these things about the saturation of information, that's just the nature of the ecosystem. Maybe it will just be a case of trying to find fun within it, if that makes sense, rather than kind of being that person raging against the dying of the light, hoping for the old days to come back. So I just don't think they are. I think the cat's very much out of the bag now. You're not going to get that. The stable door is bolted, the horse is bolted, and that sort of thing.
100%.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what they'll do to shake it up. I really hope they do. And yeah, it has been quite a long old season, I feel. And I said on socials the other day, just if you have had an emotional, bad or exhausting season, just don't play World Cup fantasy. Just give it, just watch it every now and again, but come back next year refreshed and ready to play fantasy football again, because it takes up your brain space. It really does, and that can be really. But it can also be something, especially when you're not doing very well, and you do kind of feel it. Like I often say that I don't want it to affect, obviously, my family life or anything like that. But I definitely did feel kind of today and yesterday really pissed off, despite kind of the Arsenal side of it being great. But when I was thinking, whenever my thoughts turned to FPL, I was just like, oh god, it's really annoying. You don't want to be in that state with it. Obviously, we're content creators, so it's a bit different for us. But yeah. Hey, roll on next year, shall we say?
100%. Who knows? Final day miracles can happen. We might both be smiling this time next week. Who Who knows? And either way, it's the friends we made along the way anyway. We've got a great community, great listeners as well that we love chatting to. I love chatting to you every week. So even if FPL is changing a little bit and it's harder to get those good ranks and it's harder to beat like this big blob of people who all have quite similar teams, and like similar picks become popular really quickly, you can still find little moments of joy from it regardless. You can still beat those people and you can still make a load of friends and have some great conversations about football and fantasy football throughout the years. So yeah, I don't think we're going anywhere. We're here for year 10, aren't we? So hopefully next season we get even better ranks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Next season, how many years have I been doing this? I've been doing this 3, next season 4. How many years of those have you hit top 100k? I think it's twice now, isn't it?
Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah, I think 3. It is.
So, yeah, you can go for the hat trick whilst I've been on the pod.
Absolutely horrendous, Sam.
Anyway, anything else we want to rant about? I can do a half an hour monologue on Southampton if you want. No one wants that. No, okay. Anything else?
No, let's leave it. Next week, I think we'll look at kind of the year wrap up, do some data stuff, all that sort of thing, and then yeah, just I guess get a 2025 26 in our rearview mirrors. But yeah, for now, I think that's everything for this week.
Think so. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching and for listening as always, especially with all the very important football going on in the background. We were Who Got the Assist. You can find us on Blue Sky at Who Got the Assist, all written out one word. FPL Pricey on there for me. On X, it's WGTA_FPL. Again, FPL Pricey on there for me. And on YouTube, it's Who Got the Assist, all written out. Again, I'm just FPL Pricey on there. Mainly just getting ahead of next season now, really, if you want to follow us on those. And if you did enjoy the pod, please do follow us there, but also give the pod a 5-star rating on Spotify, iTunes, wherever. And of course, if you're watching along on YouTube, leave a like, hit subscribe, and that would be very, very helpful. And since, well, for a lot of you, you might not come back for the review pod next week. Just want to say thank you all so much for watching and for listening this season. And yeah, we hope to see you next season for more Who Got the Assist fun. But in the meantime, for those of you who will see us next week, looking forward to it. For those who won't, we'll see you in August, I guess.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, everybody. I hope it's just you. Look forward to the fun week. Just to echo what Sam said. Thank you so much for leaving us here. See you next year for year 10 of WGTA. If you listen to me for that long, I'm sure the men with white coats are going to come and pick you up soon. Incredible stuff. And yeah, to everybody else, see you next Tuesday, I think.
Oh, it's a goal. Who got the assist? Who got the assist?